for me, social media has been really good. It has been a good experience because social media gave me the voice I wouldn't have had within the institutions as we know them. But there are some dangers to social media, and I want to mention them now because it has an implication for your studies and the kind of time you spend. All right, one of the things about social media is that it prevents us from developing a long attention span. So when we have these short documentation, like tweets of 240 characters, or TikTok, which is 30 seconds, when we have information broken down to such small bits, and then we keep scrolling and scrolling. So, for example, in your TikTok feed, you watch one video, then another one comes up, then another one comes up, then another one comes up. All that prevents you from training yourself to concentrate long term. So probably part of why people find it difficult to read academic work or is because of being addicted to the short-term span of social media. So you need to be very careful about that, because your ability to adjust to study will depend on how good your attention span is. And if you're using these short text kind of apps, that's not going to be very good for your memory. The other part of the attention span is that it keeps you excited. So social media is not only giving you short pieces of knowledge, but it's also giving you very varied social bits of knowledge. So you will watch one video which has Njugush, then the next video with Nick Quach, then the next video will be from Trevor Noah, then, and at least those are comedies. Then the next video will be a news item from Philippines. Then the next, you're given such a variety of knowledge in small bits that doesn't allow you to concentrate on either one. And that actually is what makes people vulnerable to misinformation. It's not this fact check that BBC has been bothering us with. The problem isn't the facts. The problem is that people do not have a long enough attention span to acquire the background knowledge to interpret information correctly. So when they are telling us the problem is facts, I think it's a red herring. We are being conned. The problem isn't the facts. The problem is that we don't have long enough narratives that help us interpret short bits of information. So you need to be careful about social media in that sense, in the sense that we are getting a short but very big variety of information at the same time. Because what that does to the mind is that it keeps your mind excited. Because if now I'm watching a video of Njugush, and then the next thing I'm watching is a video of Trevor Noah, I have to make adjustments to my mind, because one is a Kenyan video, the other one is American. So for the American one, I have to make the adjustment and remember, oh, Trevor Noah is a South African, he's a comedian, he has this show in America, so the content that he's interacting with is American. Do I know who Trump is? Do I know who Biden is? You have to, in 30 seconds, make the shift from Kenya to the US. And then even before you have mastered what Trevor Noah is saying in 30 seconds, you have to now go to the Philippines. Philippines just had an election. Who is the president? Why is Marcos a problem? He's a problem because his father was the president before. What happened? Hey, people, your mind will go ballistic. It short circuits, actually. And I don't mean that metaphorically, even literally. Your nerves start to short circuit because you're processing a lot of information that is different in a short period of time. So you need to be careful about what social media does to the mind in case you are struggling with concentrating on academic work. part of your adjustment to graduate studies is not simply to lessen the social media, but to train your mind to think on one topic for a prolonged period of time. And that's an important skill because it improves your attention span. It lowers your blood pressure, of course, because your mind isn't juggling so many things at the same time. And it makes you able to think better. So you need to give your mind time to relax. So even those WhatsApp groups, you need to limit them. You need to limit the amount of jokes and inspirational messages you're sending. All those things, just see how you can minimize the amount of time you spend on so many small bits of information. And then I don't blame anyone. And I think this is deliberate. This is about advertising. The reason why social media is like that is for advertising. Because the Googles and the Facebooks, they need to pack as much commercial information in a short matter of time. So that's why they keep you excited. But also it's to depoliticize us. Because when you have citizens who are not able to think long-term, then it's very easy to mislead them, as I was saying. If you check the story of Philippines, that was the story. Philippines had a dictator called Marcos who oppressed them for many years, assassinated the main opposition leader, and that was in the 80s, if I remember well. Philippines did the same thing we did. They voted for the son of a former president. But when the kids were being asked, what do you know about the history of Marcos? They said he was a good ruler. Philippines prospered when we were under his rule, which was a lie. But why did that happen? It's because we are not teaching our history. We have no memory. Those kids never asked their parents, how was the days of Marcos? They didn't know. And then when the information comes, it comes in short attention spans that don't allow people to ask, wait a minute, where did this start from? What happened next? And after that, what did people say? All those follow-up questions, they are prevented by social media. And it's for a specific commercial and political purpose. It's to make us not be able to have a memory. So please, you will need to make some adjustments to social media. Like I said, social media can be good. For me, it has been good. It has given me a voice. So I'm not saying that it's entirely bad. I'm just saying that we need to be aware what the dangers are. The third thing you need to be aware of is your emotional health. The reason why there are all these crooks on social media to hurt us, to tell us nasty things, to bully us, it's not simply because they are being nasty. It's to depoliticize us. What does depoliticize mean? It means it is to make sure that we feel so much pain that we can't think straight. That's the purpose. When all those nasty things are said, the purpose is to shut us up. It's to make us feel so much pain that the emotional pain we feel prevents us from following up what we were talking about or following up on what we listened to. And for me, of course, people tell me those nasty things. Me, I reply after I realize that it's not about me. It's about shutting me up, number one, and it's about discouraging people from following what I'm saying. So when I get all that nonsense, me, I just reply. But I'm telling you what I did after 4 years of fumbling through and finding out how do I navigate this bullying. But the point is that because of this high excitement of social media and very many topics, there's also an emotional cost to this kind of content that we are consuming. And that emotional cost interferes with thinking. Again, one of the things Kenyans are not conscious of is that our mind, our thinking, and our emotions and our spirituality, they are connected very intimately. So if you're taking a lot of abuse on social media, you will not be able to think well. And also it will affect your spiritual and your mental wellness. I'm just mentioning those things. I'm not saying don't use social media, but be conscious when you're using it, that these are the dangers. And then that will also make you sort of limit the amount of social media you consume. Lastly, do not consume social media an hour before you sleep, because one of the things we are not aware is that our minds are active even when our bodies are asleep. That's why we dream. We dream because our minds are still operating. So if you are consuming a lot of social media and then you sleep, your mind doesn't sleep, and it's full of that noise and nonsense and good things. Some of the things are good, but it's still active on very small bits of information that are so different from each other. So it's not good for your mental health. Try to avoid social media consumption early in the morning and especially late when you're just about to sleep. Hopefully, these are some of the things that can help you adjust to graduate study, because I think part of why students find academic study boring is because they are not used to concentrating on one thing for a long period of time. And there's no academic work without doing that. But that's on the more serious side. Listen to music, be very deliberate about it over a long period of time, not one song here, one song here, once. Listen to an album or a playlist where you're not picking the songs one by one. Let it play through, because that's how you learn how to slow down. You can also watch plays, movies, do things that will make sure that you stay in one place doing one thing for a longer period of time, other than social media. For women, we are used to cooking. Cooking is a good thing, so even the men should try it out. It keeps you active, but doing something repeatedly for a long period of time, for a longer period of time than TikTok. So these are some of the things you can do to relax your mind, to learn to make it slow down, to learn how to follow an idea for a long period of time. When you're researching, see if you can do the same. You say, I'm going to look at this topic and I'm going to read about it for 2 weeks. All the articles I read must be about this for 2 weeks. See if you can do that, and that will be a good way to help you with your assignments and your thesis.